Okay, now I'm ringing up Graeme Kenna, City Solicitor for Bradford Council.
This is the voicemail of Graeme Kenna from the Legal Department for Adult Services in Bradford Council.
Straight to voice message.
Please leave a message and I will get back to you.
After you've finished your message, just hang up. Or to hear more options, please press 1.
Yes, hello Mr. Kenna, it's Mr. Hussain here, once again leaving yourself my daily voice message asking you to engage with me and give me an update on my brother's whereabouts or well-being, and your continual refusal to give me any information as gatekeepers now of the leverage that you have in holding my brother in unlawful care and custody without providing us with any kind of legal framework for what you have done. Today is Thursday, the 19th of October 2023, and it's now been 72 days. 72 days that you have unlawfully incarcerated and detained my brother without any legal framework, without any kind of justification, any kind of lawful or legal justification to have done so. And I was just reflecting on the fact that the last time you had achieved something similar was exactly 5 years ago in the exact same month, within days previously. So this time you abducted my brother on the 8th of August 2023, where you had initially abducted my brother on the 3rd of August 2023, which was a very significant day, because I'm sure at the time you were not with the council, but Mr. Kenna, but I have been dealing with this council for a very long time, and I've seen off many people, and I've seen off many people before you. I mean, I'm sure you're fully aware that you have taken over this case, I believe in 2020 or 2019, after Rachel Mann was originally tasked with dealing with this case. And it was just very interesting that I have been dealing with all the city solicitors, particularly spearheaded by Parveen Akhtar, whom I have also seen off. I've seen off 2 different chief executives, Tony Reeves beforehand, and now hopefully Kirsten England. I'm not sure if she's still here or if she's gone. She's supposed to have vacated her post by the end of July, my understanding was, but I'm not sure what the situation is. But as it presently stands, what I'm trying to focus in on is trying to get access to my brother. Now, as you're fully aware that there is a care package that my brother was receiving from myself, which was a care package that was neglected or negotiated at the end of January 2019 before Rashmi Dixon, his psychiatrist at the Linfield Mount Hospital, and Fungi and Baljit Nota, all in January 2019. My brother's been in my care since that time period under a care package that I had dictated as being £1 million a week, and given you the opportunity to provide any alternatives. There was no alternative care provision you had. You forced him onto my care, and I made that situation quite clear then. Subsequently, I have been under a great deal of stress and strains dealing with my mother's situation, but I've never neglected or negated on the care and quality that my brothers should be receiving. My brother's at home in a family environment. He's receiving all the support that he needed. Obviously, we were suffering because of the financial constraints you had put on both my brother and myself by unlawfully taking his benefit money. Now, that is a very important point here, Mr. Kenna, is how have you become his DWP appointees? How have you done that? You can speak to, I think, is it Richard Winters? All right, not Richard Winters. I've dealt with Richard Winters before as well. But the fraud investigator, his name escapes me right now, who used to previously work with the Department of Work and Pensions. So, you know, my brother signed over an appointeeship to me. So I'm my brother's appointee for a number of years. You then saw fit to take me to court and have me done for fraud, but that does not negate on removal of the appointeeship. I did not relinquish the appointeeship. Somebody else cannot become an appointee without me first relinquishing it. And under my brother's circumstances, I had failed to relinquish the appointeeship to my brother Adalat. You had instructed, the local authority at the time in 2016 had instructed Adalat to visit me in prison and try to get me to hand over my lasting power of attorney to him so he could then become lawfully the appointee. I saw through that blunder. I saw through that contrivance, and I only gave him authority to deal with my council tax issues, nothing else. And that obviously failed. So in 2016, a clear fraud has taken place where my appointeeship for my brother Talib has been transferred over to my brother Adalat. All right, that is unlawful. It doesn't matter if I'm in prison. If I don't relinquish it, you cannot take my brother's. You cannot take Talib's appointeeship. But you have secured a criminal conviction. You have people in the Department of Work and Pensions that authorize this. Subsequently, earlier on in this year, I've been writing to them, to the DWP, asking them to explain to me how my appointeeship has been removed, and they're refusing to tell me because they know the fact that they've got caught out in a fraud. Now, with regards to my brother Talib's appointeeship, it went to Adalat unlawfully, and then how did it go from Adalat to yourselves? Obviously, so my brother Adalat would have got appointeeship for Talib in 2016. He would have, the only way that it moved from Adalat to yourselves was when my brother Talib was being incarcerated in October, since August to December 2018. In October 2018, through the solicitor, that I had selected for my brother, namely Alistair Bateman solicitors, with Alistair Bateman's assistance, and whilst my brother was being detained in, I believe, the 14th of October 2018, whilst he was detained in your care, complete in your care and custody, without access to myself as his legal representative or his true representative, and who has authority over him, you got his solicitor Alistair Bateman to witness my brother signing over his DWP appointeeship to Bradford Council. Now that was unlawful, that was illegal, that was fraudulent, wasn't it? That at the time you did not have deputyship. There is a complete lie that you had deputyship for my brother, financial deputyship for my brother. In October 2018, you had nothing. You had no legal framework to act on behalf of my brother. You managed to convince or pressurize my brother to sign over some appointeeship, so you would then starting to receive his appointeeship, DWP benefit money. You were not his deputies at the time. My brother Adalat was deputy at the time. Then a year later, when my brother had been released into my care, I got my brother to sign over, and my brother did sign over both health and well-being and property and finance lasting power of attorneys to me, much to your dismay. So when you became aware of this in November in 2019, then you've done a second fraudulent thing, trying to assert that the hearing before District Judge Hesford of the 2nd of January 2018.
The maximum allowed time for recording a message. If you wish to record further, please choose the send option from the menu. If you've finished recording, just hang up. If you don't carry on recording or hang up, your message will be deleted. To listen to your message, press 1. Please record the rest of your message after the tone. When you finish recording, press the hash key.
Sorry, Mr. Kenna, as I was saying, time is getting the better of me. As I was saying, it was not until November 2019, once you realized that I had the legal authority of his lasting power of attorney, had you then doctored court orders of the 2nd of January 2018 before just the District Judge Hesford. So both times, so the deputyship is a fraud that you deliberately created in October 2019. His appointeeship is a fraud that you created forcibly whilst he was in your custody in 2018. So 18 and 19, you've tried to fraudulently become financially in charge of my brother. Now you've abducted him, but the key question is that you do not have legal authority to make any health and well-being decisions regarding my brother. You have no authority in place.
Sorry, but you've reached the maximum time available for recording your message. To listen to your message, press 1. Message sent. Goodbye.
So obviously I'm very limited in what I can say on the 7-8 minutes I think it's a 9 minutes of voice message that I can leave, and obviously I'm not finished speaking, so I'll continue to record. I'll continue to have my own recordings and publicize it for not only Mr. Kenna but for the whole world to listen into. The local authority have clearly committed fraud regarding my brother on several occasions, and hence why they are now so desperate in order to detain my brother and refusing to engage with me, and then laying blame upon myself that I'm aggressive, I'm abusive, it's all my fault somehow, all right? And they themselves can do no wrong because they are professionals, paid professionals to do their job properly. And yet the reality is that they're not doing any of their jobs properly. What they are resorting to is criminality. That's how the local authority really works, where the common man, the ordinary man, if he does any act of criminality or breaking the law, he can be arrested by the police and sent through the court system and sent to jail. But when the local authority does criminality, they cannot be, nothing can happen to them. All they can do is lie, cheat and manipulate and waffle and say that lessons will be learned, and they didn't do it deliberately when quite clearly they did. Quite clearly they did. Now, in my understanding, in order for there to be any type of criminality, there has to first of all exist some sort of deficit, whether that's a moral deficit, intellectual deficit, or most importantly, a financial deficit. Those are the only reasons why one would commit criminality. Criminality is based on deficits. Somebody who has a moral deficit, has no regard for the law, will commit a crime. Somebody who has an intellectual deficit will commit a crime knowing the fact that he may get away with it, not realizing that the reality is that you're not going to get away with it. But most importantly, most crimes are committed due to financial deficit or financial constraint, especially now when there's a cost of living crisis and people are losing their jobs and the recession and everything else. There is more inclination to commit crimes when you are under a deficit. This is one of the reasons that the rich and the powerful don't usually get caught with committing crimes, even though their crimes are on a different level. They're not under any deficit. They've got money. People have money. It's not worth risking committing crimes. If you got no money, then you're more inclined to commit crimes. And this is one of the reasons that the local authority have placed me into this situation. They're creating a financial deficit and are basically coaching and grooming me to do something criminal so then they can have leverage over me, which I'm obviously refusing to do. But coming back to the points that I was raising with Mr. Kenna is fully aware, or the local authority is fully aware, that they have absolutely no legal justification in order to have any kind of control over my brother. They're not his DWP appointee. They were not his deputy. They don't have a lasting power of attorney for him. These are all things that I had. I had lasting power of attorney for my brother, registered in 2019. But prior to this, I've always had a DWP appointeeship for my brother, who's authorized me to collect his money as he seems fit. He's not raised a complaint or an issue with regards to me being his DWP appointee. In fact, when they kicked us both out of the city and tried to give my brother Talib money in 2021, February and March 2021, as my recording of yesterday clearly highlighted, my brother said, no, give the money to Shazad, right? He's in charge of my finances. But that's something that they cannot accept because they've unlawfully, criminally convicted me of stealing money from him, which was direct payments. But then they thought, oh, we'll just add on the DWP one as well, which is now causing them a great deal of problems. So the reality is that they've been acting criminally, and they've got caught out acting criminally, because the reality is that in relation to his DWP benefit money, yes, that's all fraudulent. They got him to sign over something in the presence of a solicitor that I got him that didn't speak his language. But they just need to show on paper that, my brother signed over his appointeeship to them. He should not. And the fact that my brother Adalat had appointeeship from 2016 until 2018 is quite clearly fraudulent and criminal, which needs to be investigated, and obviously for him to be held to account. But Adalat will be held to account by the council, because the council works in collaboration with Adalat, in collaboration with Shaida, the council tenant, in collaboration with my niece Yugufta, in order to achieve their objectives. They all work together, including my close relatives and siblings and nieces and nephews, in order to achieve the objectives that the local authority want. Now, in relation to my brother, how did they get the DWP appointeeship from me? Because I did not relinquish it, even though at a time when I was completely distressed, arrest in prison, they sent a dialer to get me to sign over a document that would give him full lasting power of attorney, which they were trying to coach him to do, and I realized this. So I never relinquished my appointeeship, DWP appointeeship. And it's quite interesting that when I did get lasting power of attorney for my brother, the Department of Work and Pension saying, well, even though you got legal authority now registered with the Office of the Public Guardian, we still can't remove the appointee for Bradford Council, as you can listen to in one of my calls with the DWP. So even when I had the legal paperwork, namely the lasting power of attorney, they would refuse to make me appointee again, because they said that the present appointee holder, Bradford Council, needs to relinquish this right. But in my case, I never relinquished my right to the appointeeship. So how did anybody else get my brother Talib's appointeeship? But more importantly, then that's what they did in 2018. In 2019, by this time, I had got lasting power of attorneys for my brother. They then realized that, oh no, we can't have this. So ideally, what should have happened, as that happened in my mother's case, they should have got a court-appointed panel of deputies. So there's a select solicitors or individuals that are a court-appointed panel of deputies. Bradford Council is not on that panel of deputies, and neither is Alistair Bateman solicitors, because they were trying to coach Alistair Bateman to become my brother Talib's deputy, financial deputy. Obviously, he must have realized that this is not conducive, or they must have realized that this will only take place if we can get rid of Shazad from the scenes, basically myself. And they had tried to put me into prison in November 2018. In November 2018, they tried to put me into prison. They tried to get coached Alistair Bateman to become my brother Talib's financial deputy. Obviously, everything fell apart because I came out of prison towards several weeks later. Because they were holding me at ransom, saying that give us £20,000, otherwise we won't release you. Luckily, I managed to raise up funds through my sister, and I managed to get myself released from prison at the end of November 2018. So the whole plan fell apart. And also, the true panel of deputy, namely Veronica Mullins of Ramsden Solicitors, had already taken up the post in early 2019 regarding my mother's case, so she was unlikely to come on board in my brother's case. So in January 2019, Veronica Mullins of Ramsden Solicitors had become my mother's court of protection appointed panel of deputy. So she was my mother's deputy. By December time in 2019. When the council realized that I had lasting power of attorney, they tried to get somebody to come on board. Nobody came on board, all right? And so they then had to literally doctor court orders, which is a clear perversion of justice, which is a very serious contempt of court and perversion of justice. But they did it with the collusion of the court system, and they got the official, the public guardian, Nick Goodwin, who's now head of the courts and tribunal services. They got the judges on board in order to doctor a court order that mentions their name, that the order of Judge Hesford on the 2nd of January 2018 made the local authority, Bradford Council, the deputy. And I've been screaming that this is all fraud since day one, and nobody's listening to me. It's all fraudulent, it's all corrupt, it's all malevolent, and they know it, and they're just simply avoiding speaking to me now. That's the real reason that nobody wants to speak to me.